All right, so today we're going to be diving into something that might make some people a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe blush a little bit.
A little bit.
We're going to be talking about women and masturbation.
Okay.
A topic that doesn't always get discussed super openly,
Yeah.
so we're going to try to peel back some of those layers of taboo and dive deep.
I love it.
So, you shared some fascinating research with me, some articles, even some personal notes on this topic. What sparked your interest in this deep dive?
Well, I think what I find fascinating is how much we don't talk about female masturbation, even in a society that, we say is becoming more open about sexuality and all this stuff. It's like, it's almost this unspoken rule, right?
It really is.
That women's pleasure is somehow less important.
Yeah.
Or even
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and it's like you said, it's not matching up with how we talk about things in general, like male masturbation.
Right.
I mean, think about how often we joke about that.
Totally.
Or how it's framed as just a normal part of growing up. But then for women, it's like we just don't even talk about it, or it's still like hidden.
It's still this big secret.
And stigmatized.
Why is that?
Yeah, why is that?
That's a really complex question, and it goes beyond just societal norms,
Yeah.
One of the articles you sent me digs into the history, and it's pretty eye-opening. For centuries, women's bodies and sexuality have been controlled way more than men's have.
It's like we're a threat or something. If we're
That's exactly.
Right. Like what if women start questioning other things, right? Like it could disrupt everything.
Disrupt the whole system.
Yeah, the status quo. And that fear has been perpetuated through religious teachings, cultural norms, even like medical misinformation.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a long history of, making female sexuality seem wrong.
Right. Or like hysterical or deviant.
Wow. So basically, generations of women have been basically taught to feel ashamed of their bodies and their desires.
Totally. And that shame can really impact how they experience their sexuality.
Of course. Yeah. It's got to have a ripple effect. I mean, that's got to make you feel guilty, anxious.
Totally.
Maybe even like you're disconnected from your body.
Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons why I think it's so important that we talk about this.
Yeah.
And we debunk some of those myths that surround female masturbation.
Well, let's get into some of those myths then.
Okay.
Because I know you had a whole bunch of them flagged in your notes.
Yeah.
What are some of the biggest misconceptions that you came across?
Well, one of the most common is that, masturbation is only for single people.
Oh, right.
Like once you're in a relationship,
you turn in your pleasure card or something?
You're done, right?
Yeah.
Like that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't track.
Another one is that it's dirty or immoral, which I think is particularly harmful.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it makes it seem like there's something inherently wrong with women, exploring their bodies and enjoying themselves.
Right. And that kind of thinking, I mean, that really messes with somebody's self-esteem.
For sure.
Their ability to experience pleasure.
Absolutely. And it can prevent them from reaping the benefits of masturbation.
Oh, right. Because there are benefits.
There are a lot of benefits.
Okay, so lay it on me. What are some of the ways that masturbation can actually enhance a woman's life?
Well, I think a really great one to start with is it's a fantastic way to get to know your own body.
Okay.
By exploring different sensations and techniques, you figure out, what feels good to you.
It's like
and what doesn't.
Your own personalized roadmap to pleasure.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And that's so empowering.
Yeah.
In and out of the bedroom. When you understand your own body and what turns you on, you're more likely to be able to communicate that to a partner.
Oh, for sure.
Which leads to more fulfilling experiences.
Yeah. So it's not just about the physical act. It's about the
it's more than that.
Self-awareness and the confidence that comes with that.
Exactly.
What were some of the other benefits that surprised you as you were going through the research?
One of the things that really stood out to me was this link between masturbation and stress reduction.
Oh, yeah. The happy hormones, right?
The happy hormones. But it's not just about feeling good in the moment. Right? There's an actual process that happens in your brain.
Yeah.
When you masturbate, your body releases this whole cocktail of hormones, endorphins and oxytocin.
For those who haven't taken a deep dive into brain chemistry, those are the feel-good chemicals, right, that help regulate your mood, help you de-stress, and even help you feel more connected to others and to yourself.
It's not just anecdotal. There's actually science that backs up the fact that masturbation can help you relax.
Oh, wow.
De-stress, improve your mood.
It's not just in our heads.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
So it's like more than a quick fix. It's really impactive our well-being.
Yeah, and there's some really interesting research. Okay, one of the studies you flagged looked at cortisol levels in women before and after masturbation.
Oh, wow.
And cortisol, as you probably know, is that stress hormone.
Right, the one that spikes when we're, feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly. And they found that women who masturbated had significantly lower cortisol levels.
Interesting.
Afterwards.
Oh, so measurable.
Yeah.
Not just something we think is happening.
It's physiological.
Well, but are there like other more tangible benefits beyond the hormones?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
A lot of the articles talked about the impact on sleep. That feeling you get after an orgasm.
Yeah.
Just super relaxed.
Yeah.
Almost euphoric.
Like a natural sleep aid.
Exactly.
But more fun.
Way more fun.
Than counting sheep.
And, some of your notes talked about the potential for pain relief.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for menstrual cramps.
I remember reading about that.
Yeah.
That sounds almost too good to be true.
I know.
How does that work?
It has to do with the muscle relaxation that happens during orgasm.
Okay.
When those muscles relax, it can actually help with the cramping and discomfort.
So it's like therapeutic.
Yeah, potentially.
I mean, there's so much here.
I know, it's amazing.
Physically and emotionally.
And that's what I love about, looking into this more.
Yeah.
We're really starting to understand that it's not just a physical act.
Right.
It can really impact so many parts of a woman's life.
Yeah, it feels like the finally acknowledging that mind-body connection.
Exactly.
When it comes to female sexuality.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, when you were doing your research, did you come across any downsides or risks?
That's a great point.
Because, we want to make sure.
Yeah, we want to be balanced.
We're being balanced.
Honestly, most of the research really highlights the positive.
Okay.
But with anything related to our bodies, there can be individual things that come up.
Right. So what should women be aware of?
Well, for some women, really frequent masturbation might lead to some sensitivity or even soreness.
Okay.
Especially if you're using certain toys or techniques.
I mean, that makes sense. Too much of a good thing.
Exactly.
What would you suggest if someone's experiencing that?
Listen to your body.
Okay.
If something's uncomfortable, stop.
Yeah.
Give yourself a break.
Makes sense.
And, if it keeps happening, talk to a healthcare provider.
Yeah, just rule things out.
Right.
That's good advice in general.
It is good life advice.
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
But what about the emotional side of things? You were talking earlier about, the shame, stigma. Could that have some downsides?
That's such a good question.
Emotionally.
And yeah, while masturbation itself isn't harmful, the way that we think about it gets at some hurdle.
So even if you logically get it, it's healthy, it's normal.
Totally.
But you still might have that.
You have that baggage.
Yeah, that baggage from society or whatever.
It could take time to unlearn that.
Right.
And fully embrace your own pleasure.
You have to rewire your brain.
Kind of.
To accept something that should be natural.
Yeah.
So if someone's struggling with those feelings, what advice would you give them?
Be kind to yourself.
Okay.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It's okay if it takes time.
Yeah.
And sometimes, talking to a therapist or a counselor who specializes in sexual health can be really helpful to navigate those
complex feelings.
The feeling.
It's like giving yourself permission to explore on your own terms without all that judgment. But what about the practical side of things?
Yeah.
We've talked about the benefits, the challenges.
Yeah.
Someone's brand new to this. Where do they even begin?
That's where your personal notes come in.
Oh.
It sounds like you've done some exploration.
I have. And one of the things that really stood out to me is that it seems like creating a comfortable and safe space for yourself is step one.
It's huge.
It's not just about the physical. It's about creating a sanctuary.
Absolutely.
You can relax.
That's so key. It ties into that self-care piece that you were talking about.
Yeah. For me, it's treating myself with the same kindness and consideration that I would offer to, a dear friend, dimming the lights, putting on music. I love allowing myself to be present in my body.
Beautiful. And that's where those benefits we talked about come into play.
Yeah.
The stress reduction boost, better sleep.
Yeah.
It's really nourishing for your mind and body.
It's about making pleasure a part of your self-care routine.
I love that.
Exercise, meditation.
Shippy.
And I've learned it's a journey of exploration.
It is.
It's no right or wrong way. It's about find what feels good for you, and it's about finding what feels good for you.
And honoring that. Everyone's journey is different.
Right.
Some women might like a slower, more sensual experience. Others might want something more intense and energetic.
And it can change over time.
Of course.
Even within a month.
Totally.
Right.
And that's where the conversation about different types of orgasms comes in.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned that you had recently learned about clitoral versus G-spot stimulation.
Yeah, that was like a light bulb moment for me.
I love that.
Like, oh my gosh.
It's like a whole new level.
There's so much I didn't know about my own body.
It's so empowering.
It really...
To be able to be more intentional with your self-exploration.
Yeah, like really honing in on what brings you the most pleasure, becoming like a connoisseur of my own sensations.
Exactly.
And speaking of exploration, you also mentioned toys and tools in your notes.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think we need a whole other deep dive on that someday.
But
it seems like there's so many options out there.
Oh, yeah.
Vibrators, massage oils.
There's a whole world.
All sorts of creative gadgets.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say that using toys is a personal choice.
Oh, for sure.
Not a necessity.
Right.
Some women find them amazing and empowering.
Yeah.
Others prefer not to use them at all.
Yeah.
There's no right answer.
It's whatever works for you.
Exactly.
But I think the biggest takeaway for me is that this shouldn't be taboo.
Right.
This shouldn't be something we're ashamed of.
Absolutely.
This is a natural, healthy, enjoyable...
It's part of being a woman.
Part of being a woman.
Yeah.
And it can be so powerful for self-discovery, stress relief.
Empowerment.
Even empowerment.
Totally.
So as we're wrapping up this deep dive, I keep wondering, what would it take to normalize this conversation?
Oh, that's a great choice.
To make it as casual as talking about going for a run or getting a massage.
I think it starts with these conversations that we're having right now.
All right. Just being open and honest.
Yeah. Challenging those old norms. Reclaiming female pleasure is something to celebrate, not be ashamed of.
And I think recognizing that it's not just a solitary act.
Right.
This can impact our relationships with ourselves and with others.
It'll make our connections even better.
Yeah, because if we understand our desires and our needs, we can communicate that to our partners.
And have more fulfilling experiences.
So it's like this ripple effect of self-love and acceptance.
It is.
Yeah.
It impacts everything.
So to all our listeners out there, embrace your curiosity. Explore your own unique path to pleasure.
You deserve it.
And remember, your body is your own.
Uh-huh.
Your pleasure is your birthright.
Beautifully said.
And
never stop learning. There's always more to explore and celebrate.